We're back again. Same station channel. It's all about being on SportsConvos. And if you've not been on SportsConvos, I think you've not been anywhere. But before we get started, I have two interesting people in the room with me today. One is becoming like a landlord here. And while I have a new face joining us on SportsConvos, so I would rather start with you. Introduce yourself, then we go to our, to shakes. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, my name is Emmanuel. It's nice to be here. I think it's my first time in this studio, so looking forward to doing big things here. So, yes.
Great to have you here.
Thank you.
Manuel, yeah.
Shagun,
Shagun is our guy as usual. So he has been with us from day one when we started during the World Cup. That World Cup month. So guys, thanks for joining us. And I think there are so much we can have a conversation on because it's all about being on SportsConvos. And first and foremost, and I have to start this by saying this, right? So if you've not subscribed to this channel, just hit that subscription bell or button and you get fresh content out of here every time that it goes live. All right? So that's that about that. So let's just go into things set for today. I know in the last week or two, there has been a lot of hiring everywhere. Firing. And I think the international weekend just created more for such to have happened. Before we go into the conversation around, the latest culprit of the firing season, let me start by saying Graham Potter. So in my own thinking, and help me here, guys. So when Graham Potter, was unveiled as the manager for Chelsea, I thought the idea was for him to build, not for him to get that instant success. And except if we didn't get the brief right from day one. But I think, and again, building, does it have to do with everybody and anybody that any club is looking for? I just go snatch that deal again, because we are looking at if really he was brought to build versus success. I also want to get your thoughts about that.
Yeah, for me, I think it was clear that they want to build. I would say because immediately we got to January transfer window.
So when you say we, that means you're a Chelsea fan?
No, like immediately, like the global football community.
Okay, just checking.
No, I'm not a Chelsea fan.
So why is everybody doesn't want to identify with Chelsea now? I'm shocked.
So immediately we got to the transfer window now.
Yeah.
There was a lot of business. They were, like you rightly mentioned. So they had to go for many players. So trying to reinforce that attack, because you've had Kai Havertz not really firing. So you need some form of reinforcement to be able to get goals. And now the midfield also not so strong as we would expect for a team like Chelsea.
Does it, just to cut you, the midfield, is it because N'Golo was out? Did that have a dent on that Chelsea team?
I would say so, because N'Golo has been a formidable part of that team, a strong part of that team that you can't take it away. So since he has been out of that team, Chelsea has been shaking. So you can't rely on Mason Mount to get you goals. I mean, he can attempt to get you some free kick and some goals and here and there, but really, how much can he do? Who is even creating the chances for the strike? Who is the striker to score the goals? This guy, Romelu Lukaku, was sold.
But there's a Pierre Aubameyang in that team.
Aubameyang, but
now
this is not the coach that brought Aubameyang.
Okay, so does it has to do with a coach that brings you in the team, or you already have this pool of players, and how best do you make use of them to fit into your agenda? Yeah.
But you know that the coach must be able to show some level of confidence in any player if you are going to deliver. If the coach does not trust you from the onset, I mean, you don't have that confidence to really try. You want to do it, but is the coach going to let you do that job that you want to do? That's another thing. It's very important. So when Graham Potter came to Chelsea, it was clear that this guy is not my guy. Aubameyang has barely played for Chelsea. So, I mean, how do you explain a guy that went to Barcelona to go and watch Barcelona Real Madrid? he has no job doing in Stamford Bridge.
Okay.
Because if he has a job that's really doing and he has training and a lot of things, he wouldn't have that time to go to Spain to watch a Clasico.
Shakes.
Okay, from the onset, when they hired Graham Potter, like you said, football community, I don't think anybody, even Chelsea, I don't think they actually saw him as someone that they would build with. It was more like, let the season end with this guy. That's how I saw it. Like, let's just end the season with somebody.
A stopgap.
Let's just end it with somebody. So I don't think even the fans agree that this is a guy that will come and build for us based on his pedigree. Chelsea fans always want that big coach that will come with the big agenda, and he already has the clout around him. But he's just a regular guy coaching an average club, and he comes to Chelsea.
Yeah.
So it's more like even Chelsea fans just to fill in the gap till the season, and we find somebody else that will come and do the job for us. Yeah.
So on filling the gap, right? Over this international weekend, Antonio Conte got the hammer, right? Even though he was like he preempted his firing, from Tottenham Hotspurs. Now, we're looking at guys who potentially will take the role or the position. We have the just fired Bayern coach, that's Julian Nagelsmann. Yeah. We also have one-time Tottenham coach, that's Pochettino. He's also in the race for this, and we also have, one of Guardiola's boys in Vincent Kompany, for that role. Now, if I was the CEO, right, of Tottenham right now, would I go for any of these three, or I take two steps back and ask, hey, do I want to go for an Arteta who is young, vibrant, building and changing the narrative currently in what we find in Arsenal? Yeah. Or do I want to go for that established guy like in the mode of Guardiola, who it's all about instant success, getting the funds, bringing these guys into the team, and that we begin to rain our successes from there on? So that is the question. The names that I've called are people that Tottenham is looking. If you were to advise, would you go for those names, or a freshman, or somebody established?
Okay, I think more like Tottenham is a very delicate job. Everybody knows. So remember, before Conte arrived, there are lots of names about who is going to come and who's not coming. People were turning down the offer. Like, it was there. Tottenham was like that job that nobody wanted to take. So if you look at it, Conte, of course, he preempted his exit because that's who he is. If he's displeased, he says it openly. So whatever you're going to do, just go ahead and do it. So in this instance now, Pochettino was in Tottenham for 5 seasons, from 2014 to 2019. You now ask yourself, what did this man achieve?
So the Champions League final.
Did he win it?
No, he got to the final.
I mean,
that was something for Tottenham.
That was and they ended the league twice ahead of Arsenal.
I mean, what's that?
Yeah.
Where is Arsenal now? Arsenal is about to win the league.
Thanks for telling us again.
So for me, I think if I were Pochettino, I wouldn't go back to Tottenham. So the best bet, it can be Vincent Kompany. Vincent Kompany will sit as an upgrade to his portfolio as a manager because he's coming from Burnley. So it is easy for him to accept that job and do it. He's not going to tell you no. He will take the job because that adds to him. So for you as a club, Tottenham, what does it add? What does Kompany add to you? So the best bet would be Nagelsmann. I mean, the recently fired Bayern coach. You now ask yourself, will he take the job? Is he willing to take that job? Or he's looking for something that is maybe better, maybe in terms of maybe Leipzig, where he came from. So where you can have that freedom and a league that is more technical than pace. Yeah. So it's about what suits the tactics of that coach. So for me, he is the most, if I have to pick out of the names you mentioned.
So of those three, and if you were to think outside the box of these three, putting into consideration if, for example, Tottenham wants to build or they are looking for instant success, which coach do you think that is out there? Because there are not many coaches out there that would want to take that job. Or because Tottenham is now seen as that forbidden fruit.
Exactly.
So everybody,
Be careful not to go there.
Good. So what would you, if you were to throw names in terms of people that might likely want to, that you would like to take that job?
If you ask me, if you want to really try something, just go and bring back Mourinho.
You say?
Bring back Jose Mourinho.
That's what I had in mind.
Okay. All right. Shego. Let's hear your thoughts.
So, those three options. What they should do first, I think, get a company to come in. It might be a gamble. So, a lot of time you look at, young coach, just come and be like, try and error. But there are times that the young coach will come from no experience at all and come to deliver. Guardiola is an example. Arteta is even doing like sooner than we expected him to. Everybody can maybe 3-4 years. Arsenal will get there and getting there in 2 years. And Guardiola has done the same thing as well. His first year, he hit the ball running straight. So I feel a company should come. It might be a try and error, but it might work out for them. And it doesn't work out for them. End of the season, go for like a Mourinho. You have to just push that edge. So they need to push that edge, and somebody that will also push the board. I think one of their problems is I think they have a major back end problem in terms of the board.
Even the director recently.
Because the way they even sack you, sometimes you're always surprised that why is this happening. So I think you need a coach that can now come and go at loggerheads with the board and say, okay, this is what should be done, this is what I want. That's what Tottenham is now.
I also think that first of all, the board should be able to allow you to make some very key decisions.
But it's still the same board that was there when that frustrated Mourinho out of
the club.
So since he knows them already, he will come and he knows how to push them when he comes back.
Like he did in Chelsea.
He knows what to do based on experience.
Okay, talking about coaches now, and over this last week there were 2 coaches that were celebrated. And that is in Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger, who were, inducted into the Premiership Hall of Fame. And the question that I need to ask you guys, and again, for some of our fans here that may not really know the history of these 2 guys. And the rivalry. And again, this is 2-tailed question, right? The first is, are those 2 deserving for that? You understand? And it's like a no-brainer. But on the second side of the question is the rivalry that these 2 guys, lived for during their time. Do we have any of such rivalry in the coaches that currently you have now at the EPL? Shakes, let me start.
Okay.
Let me start with Shakes.
They both went head-to-head for so long.
Yeah.
Even before the official award of being inducted in Hall of Fame, every fan, even in our minds, naturally, they are the Hall of Fame guys when it comes to English football.
Yeah.
Without even being told, when we talk about coaches in the EPL, it's Ferguson, Wenger.
True.
No other coach has stayed that long with any club in the EPL. So it's a no-brainer, like you said, to even say, do they deserve it? Of course, even without the award itself, they've already been giving it to them already. Now, coming to today's coaches now, which is competing with each other, because we've not had a coach stay for so long in a club in recent times. So we cannot even say this coach against this coach.
So are we also now saying that most clubs now are going for instant success than building?
Like, back then, Ferguson with Man U, there was always a style of play. This is how Man U plays. Ferguson came with his own philosophy of football, built it in Man U. That's what they still follow to tomorrow. This is how every Man U fan will say, this is how we play. And it was based on Ferguson's philosophy. Same with us now. This is how we used to play. It was Wenger's philosophy.
True.
But now we don't have that anymore. Everybody just come. A coach will come with his own philosophy, do it for 2 years, they will sack the coach. Or another coach with his own 3 years, they will sack, he will struggle. So there's no real coaches competition anymore in APL.
So you feel, the clubs then allowed both Sir Alex and Arsene Wenger express themselves, have a hold on the clubs themselves, and
because every year they were always competing against each other. So of course the club had no reason to even want to think about sacking them. So it was.
I think more like the 2 coaches, they earned that freedom to be able to do whatever they wanted to do in their respective teams. So for me, I believe that there are no coaches more deserving of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. However, I would think that maybe he had a Redknapp should also get a mention, if you ask me. He has been there a long time as well.
Maybe in future. But then he didn't win anything.
He didn't win anything then. Are we really looking at by the trophies you won or by that longevity of that service, right? To development of English football.
So now that you are saying Harry Redknapp, why not Roy Hodgson?
Harry Redknapp, Roy Hodgson, even Sam Allardyce.
Yeah.
You can't really, if you are trying to rate them like tier 1 coaches and all of that in terms of how they have served the English football, you can't go without mentioning the likes of Roy Hodgson and Redknapp and
because they were coaches that had philosophy with the club they were coaching.
Yeah. So on the other side of the question, which is now about the rivalry, the closest we have in the EPL now is what's his name, Jurgen Klopp. He has been in Liverpool since January of 2015. So if you are going to have that rivalry,
there's not been any rival like coach.
So what
rival.
they now do is to play mind games.
So Klopp and who?
Klopp and Guardiola. Okay. Guardiola has been there since 2016 or 2017 or so. So what they do is play mind games with each other. Not like so the closest we saw like a fight in the EPL was Conte and Tuchel, the handshake, the famous handshake, and all of this that happened. So that was like the heated argument we had in the EPL, of which we would have loved for it to continue, but then they are all gone.
Well, now it changes. It's always maybe Liverpool versus Man City, Liverpool versus Chelsea,
or something like that. So,
but back then it was just those two guys.
Those two actually.
Even then, anytime Man U and Arsenal were to play, it was going to
the tempo, like the whole thing. Yeah.
So the one that comes to my mind, and I think
was player versus coach, player versus player.
No, the player like that. So you had like your Patrick Vieira and what is this guy?
No.
The former captain of Man U. What is
Roy
his
Keane.
name? Roy Keane. Yeah. You know that very that rumble there. So those are the good old days, and I think between them, I think they shared nothing less than maybe 12, 13 titles amongst themselves, and of course the very famous 49 match unbeaten run that Arsenal had during.
And Man U ended it.
That is for some reason. So that is the record at the end. We didn't allow them get to 50, right? So it's crazy season, and that was those days. Now I want us to just focus on 5 of the top leagues in Europe. That is England, Spain, Italy, Germany, France, and Germany. Right? When you look at those 5 leagues, maybe as at today, we can say confidently that the title is for Napoli in Italy. What will you say about the top other 4 countries? When we talk about England, do we say it's already done deal for Arsenal, or we think that Man City would come with the last, last minute push and pressure? We have 10 games to go. Do we think it's done and dusted for Arsenal, or you think that the surprises are still going to come with Man City? In Spain, do we say it's done deal, Barca, Real Madrid, or do we think that Champions League spirit would play in or delve in? It's good to hear from you in terms of that. In Germany, we have Borussia Dortmund. Tuchel is back to Bayern. Do we think that something exciting would happen? And of course, in France, where is PSG, right? Just your thoughts around the top 5 European leagues, and just to get your perspective to how this would end.
I think so far strong statements have been made. So Napoli, they did it very loud and clear. They don't do. It's just game over. So I mean, so out of 10 games, so that's about 30 points. So if I win 5 games, what's left? 3 games. That's it. So it's a done deal for them. So when you come to Germany, the hierarchy in Bayern, they were not so pleased with the games under the former coach. So which was why they now brought in a new man to take over the team.
A new man from the old team.
That's always what they do. Anyway. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Players and coaches, they're always interchanging clubs and everything. So for me, I think it's quite open. But Bayern, by that run of form which they've always maintained in the league, I think they are more experienced to get over the line. Then you go to France. I can't see any other person win other than PSG. Nobody has that kind of squad to compete with PSG. And in Spain, of course, look at Barcelona and Real Madrid. Barcelona made a statement with that El Clasico win. So with that, mentally, it is more of mental, because it's not about just the 3 points. It's about who has that mental superiority in terms of that confidence to carry it over. Barcelona showed that by winning against Real Madrid, despite the fact that Pedri was not there, Dembele was not there. So for me, 12 points, that's 4 matches. You can't lose 4 matches just like that. Maybe 1 loss or whatever. So what about the person behind you? Are they not going to lose matches?
True. They are playing too.
Yeah, exactly. So that is how I see it. So for me, Barcelona has already won the league. In EPL, Arsenal, they have also shown that they can have that consistency. So Man City on their own part, they've shown that consistency, but sometimes they dropped. That was, I think it was two seasons ago. They chased Liverpool from wherever. And immediately got to December and they took over Liverpool. Everyone knew that it was over because nobody was going to maintain that run of form, like going 10 games without losing a match. So in this instance, it is Arsenal's to lose.
Putting pressure on Arsenal.
That is just where it ends for me. It's Arsenal's game to lose. You decide to bottle it, it is theirs to lose because they have 8 points gap. So I think they are poised to carry the league.
Shakes.
Okay, so five leagues. For me, Napoli, of course, they made the statement. They have a striker that scores almost every game. Can't even take that away from them. So we don't have to say too much about that. For France, I think PSG will show their strength, and because they have the quality players. Even if there's time that they've lost some matches, but they will always still come back. And their competitors are teams that are not so consistent. So PSG will always show that they will show higher consistency when it comes to winning games. Germany is a tough one. And Bayern has always shown, they like to prove that we are bigger than Dortmund. So when they play each other, they always show that we are bigger than you. Like to show that. And I feel Bayern might win the league. There are times that Dortmund have shown that they will be strong. When they now meet Bayern, they will lose to Bayern. And that's it for them. They might not even bounce back. And it's a league that has teams like Leverkusen, what that big team is there? Frankfurt.
You have
Leipzig. Those are teams that they are strong too. Like they would win their games, and you are competing against those guys. So it might be tough for Dortmund. Then for Spain, I remember there was a show we talked about Madrid and Barca who would get at that point.
I know you're Barca.
At that point,
I know you're Barca.
What I said then was,
I know you're Barca. Just yes.
What I said then was, they were both I could not even predict because they were both very inconsistent. You could not say they would win their game that weekend, both of them.
Agreed.
But Barcelona had a run where even they will play very badly, but they will get that goal, one goal, and defend and win that. It will be a very boring. As a Barcelona, you'll be like, how you play football like this? But then they will get that 3 points. And that's what Xavi was. At least whatever it is we do, get the 3 points. Then they went to the Clasico, they won the Clasico. And they are 12 points clear. I don't see Madrid having. I can't even say Madrid can give me. They can't do 3 games and win. I don't think I can say that about Madrid now. They can't go 3 games.
But can you say Barca will go 3 games?
Yes, because they will play very badly. It will be interesting. It will be even nice to watch. But they'll get that one goal and they will defend
and that seals it up.
That's what they are doing now. Though Barca fans are not happy with such style of play.
Yeah.
Where we are coming from. But then that means that, you know what, let's just win the league. Maybe next season we'll start fighting.
For moral boost or something like that.
We'll start fighting things. So I think Barca will win this one. And the thing about Barcelona and Madrid is that whoever wins that Clasico tends to win the league. That's their own mental battle that they fight. Then for England, I said in the last show that Arsenal is going to enter April with so many tough games to play, and that will test their strengths. They've shown strengths so far, like that game that you feel like they would have lost, they will come back and win and get the points. Even the big teams, that they would rather just get a draw than lose. And this April will be a determining factor for us now. If they can at least get, I think we said like 50% of the points for April, they are good to go.
Good. So I thank you so much, guys. And for our viewers, the conversation keeps going. It doesn't end with what we say here, but the conversation also continues on our channels. So just make your comment. All that has been said all through. Graham Potter, is he the guy? If you had the time, if you had the opportunity to choose a coach for Tottenham, who will that be? And we also want to hear your predictions. Who are likely to win the table toppers across the 5 top leagues in Europe? And I'm coming home now. And when I say I'm coming home, I'm bringing it home to our own Nigerian madness, right? And I want to hear, how to you it was international weekend. But this is it, right? You talked about Napoli. We have Victor Osimhen. We have Everton's Alexi Wobis. You have Leicester's Ndidi. You also have Terry Murphy. These are all household names in Europe. And this guy incidentally plays for the green, white, green, the Super Eagles. So I need to ask this question. Yeah. This guy do great stuff in their club. When it comes to them wearing that green, white, green color of the national team, why do they perform below par? And I just want to check in with you guys and just hear your thoughts around this.
Maybe you should go first.
No, let me start with you, man.
Okay, I think I would say complacency one. I would take that very seriously because sometimes we come to national team, we feel that we are already established, so let's just go and do our thing. I mean, by playing for Nigeria, we're going to play and win. But then it doesn't work like that. Big names like the coach of Guinea-Bissau said, big names doesn't win your games. You come there, you fight for it.
Yeah.
So you can't come to national team and you are not. You give Chukwueze a pass, he wants to dribble the whole team and score. Who does that? Is that what you do in your club? Even though you are quite skillful, doesn't mean that you should take on the entire players. You take one or two players, you set for the other person to score goals. That is what team game is all about. In the clubs they play in Europe, you do the simplest things. Pass and you move. Off the ball movement. So for me, I think is a lot of belief that we are going to do it. Then individualism comes to play. You get the ball, you want to do it all by yourself. You don't want to play the next person. So for me, and then you talk of the administration, the coaches, the selection, bringing some inactive players to play for national team. Whereas there are maybe better players that are playing and scoring goals, that are even doing great things. There's a big Victor Boniface playing somewhere. There's a Gift Urban playing somewhere. You are going to bring Paul Onuachu that has been inactive for some time.
Paul Onuachu moved to Southampton.
He moved to but is he playing?
No, I'm just saying he's
he moved.
Yeah.
That's some point. But he's not playing. So you bring in Ahmed Musa that is probably unattached or something. I don't know what we're trying to do. So if we begin to call up players based on names or based on past things they have done, it doesn't help the national team. It doesn't at all.
Shakes.
Okay. We always expect the players that they are big boys, let them come, they will deliver. NFF, the fans, even most times the fans are not even aware that there's a match.
True.
Because NFF would not do anything publicity for the team. And how does that motivate the players? Now they come, what's their welfare package? Their hotels might not be up to standard of what they should be getting in terms of, so as a footballer, everything is required aside from your physical ability. Your mental state too matters. Now maybe they might tell them to share a room.
Which is normal.
It happens. They share hotel rooms. And it should not be like that. Now, we now go to the facilities where they train before the match. Things might not be in place as to what they are used to, where they are coming from.
Agreed.
Now, even the pitch itself, the home game in Abuja, the ball was not even rolling.
It wasn't rolling. It was just bumpy. Yeah.
So how would they manage that? These guys are used to, the
free
pass from here, the flows.
Yeah,
so they, of course, you expect it to show. But the NFF and the fans say, oh, they should win now. They are this, they are that. They are big boys. They are big boys where they are coming from. They are the top guys. But then the facility is not up to standard for them to play on. But we expect everything.
So what I hear you is, and
aside from us expecting someone from the players,
yes,
NFF too needs to do their own part.
So beyond just hitting or kicking the ball on the field of play, there are other things surrounding the.
Most time when it comes to national team, players are always complaining. We know that about Super Eagles. They always complain about something. There was the time they had to travel by boat to
Benin
Republic, and it was like a cabby kind of boat.
Yeah.
These are things that matter because it affects your mental state.
No, I totally agree because today, one of the things that really makes me sad about the national team was the reason why Vincent Iyama never got another call up during the days of Sunday Olise. They had to travel in a very small aeroplane, right? A cargo aeroplane, if I can't remember.
Okay, they had to stop your stopover somewhere.
Then Vincent Iyama said he would not body because of his own safety. Until today, one of the finest in the goalpost after the likes of Peter Rufai and Ike Shorumu was Vincent Iyama, and that's how we lost him from even playing from the national team. So to your point, yes, we are a little bit, yes, even the complacency from the guys, I think our nonchalant attitude by the administrators of football in this country is a key problem that we are facing, because we fans, we look forward to an all-time win every day, but we fail to understand that these players need basic. I was listening to Alex Iwobi's interview recently, and he said as little as having a home ground affects a player. You know, before we came on here, I said in 2006, the sole reason we lost from not participating in Germany 2008 because we decided to play
in Kano,
Angola by 2 a.m. in Kano.
2 p.m.
2 p.m. under the hot sun. Who does that?
I remember that game.
Who does that?
I remember that game.
It's a little bit annoying because some of us, just like I always tell people, the last time I cried about the game of the Super Eagles was in 1994 when we played Italy in the second round. It was a little bit painful and emotional for me. So anytime I get to see that game, the tear will still drop. Right? Why do we get ourselves, in this situation all the time?
And again, when you say national team, aside from us looking to Europe to get the guys playing in the top clubs, how do we build our local league?
Oh, the local league.
Go to the local league and pick boys. There are boys that would perform almost at the same level as the guys in Europe.
Yeah.
So they should also look at the local league and pick boys from the local league.
So it boils down to the same thing we are talking about.
One of our best players when we won national team, when we won the African Nations Cup was. And what's the midfielder?
Sondemba.
Sondemba.
He was a local league player.
Yeah.
And that was one of the guys that helped us win that
tournament that year, which goes back to the same thing. And it again depends on how it's from a perspective standpoint. Are we, and this is for our fans to answer, teams generally, be it from a club level or even national team, putting the Super Eagles into question, are we building or we are just all out for success? And probably that is the question that I'll leave us with. I want to listen to your comment and everything. It's a little bit crazy and a little bit emotional for me, because before I support Arsenal, the number one team that I support is the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So for everyone, I want to read your comment there, and peace out. We talk later. All right, bye for now.